Yeah. Welcome to the show where the truth comes alive. St. James is here, so let's take a deep dive. Real talk, real vibes. It's the carnal church groove. Prelate in the house, watch the spirit move. The St. James Show, oh here we go. Serving wisdom with a carnal flow. From the pulpit to the streets, we're keeping it real. Faith and life collide, that's the deal. Yeah, breaking down the walls, it's the church unfiltered. St. James preaching love, keeping hearts uplifted. Laugh, learn, grow, it's the vibe you'll respect. The carnal church sector where we all connect. The St. James Show, the prelates here. Bold, uncut, bringing truth that's clear. Hit subscribe, take a seat, come through. It's the St. James Show made just for you. The St. James Show. Yeah, the St. James Show. Yeah.
I tell ya. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It is Friday here in the great city of St. Louis. I'm up early. I'm scrolling through and bam, there are some documents. There are the documents we have all been waiting for. Would you do me a great big favor before we really get into all this? Will you do me a great big favor? Thank you as always for watching, but do subscribe. If you've clicked on the program, you haven't subscribed, do hit that subscribe button and also the like for me. Share right now. You know somebody wants to know this information. Become a member. The link is in the description of this video, and there is always your time of giving monetarily. Today we have a goal of 15 $5 super chat. So hit the goal up there if you like to help us reach our goal today on this here live. Do that by hitting the go button and helping us do that today. What's up, Jesse? Jesse was the first one up in here. I am Mrs. Ricks. What's up, Queen? The queen of blogging. The queen of blogging is Ann Brock. T. Trissy 1. Good morning, everyone. Nicole Explosive. Oh, we got affidavits. We got anti-slap motions that they. Everything is going on, Nicole. Thank you so much, Just Me and Me. Brenda Brown is in the building. Denise M. Patty Green. Good morning. Good morning. Melanie Rice. Thank you for being a member as well. Golden Girl 77. Good to see you. Happy Friday. TGIF, everybody. Tatiana is in the building. Yes. Listen, it is a whole lot. And let's just say it's 166 pages. I'm not going through 166 pages. I have a life. You have a life. But the affidavits are here that he promised. Again, this is a lot of information that they've provided. It doesn't mean the judge is going to allow any of it. We don't know. He may allow it all. We have no idea at this point. So what we are doing, we are just reading what Tyrone Blackburn submitted to the court on behalf of Dwayne Youngblood. Really quick, for those of you just stepping into this saga that's been going on for a minute here, we have Bishop T.D. Jakes, founder, of course, of the Potter's House Church in Dallas, Texas, has issued a lawsuit against Dwayne Youngblood. Dwayne Youngblood states that when he was 18 or 19 years old or so, Bishop Jakes, after taking him out to dinner and bringing him back to where the Bishop Jakes was staying, the lady's house that Bishop Jakes was staying, and it was Elder Jakes at that time, after they finished discussing whatever life and what have you, sitting at the table, he got up to leave. Dwayne Youngblood got up to leave, and Bishop Jakes hugged him, brought him to himself, as Dwayne Youngblood describes, and attempted to kiss him. So because of that, he submitted a demand letter that Bishop Jakes's complaint states they received a demand letter of $6 million for the hug and the missed kiss, and all, or they said they would go ahead and file an SA lawsuit against Bishop Jakes and continue to tell his story. Of course, we know Dwayne Youngblood told his story on Larry Reed Live. Now, Larry Reed Live has preliminary been named in this complaint, hasn't been officially named. There was some motions coming back and forth. They wanted expedited discovery. That didn't fly. Judge said, listen here, no. We're going to let this thing progress as it's supposed to progress. They're going to respond to the complaint. You're going to submit whatever you want to submit, and then we'll deal with it after that. So today, as we said last night, if you were on the thing last night, hit that like button for me, everybody. If you were on the deal last night, what's up, Tashi? Me too. I got mine too. I had to run downstairs and get the coffee. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I'm at the hotel in St. Louis, everybody. It's not my general, background. But so we'll just get into it. We're just going to get into it now. Yeah. Well, he works part-time. That's why you said he may have time to submit 166 pages. Let me put that on Do Not Disturb. Oh, yeah. Get y'all coffee, everybody. Get your coffee. My God. And he passed away. Oh, yeah. He just died. He just died after that hug. His whole life went. And then he went on to say, everybody, that the next morning, Jakes called the house and Jakes was in the bathtub and told him, I want you to be the only one I sleep with when I come to Pittsburgh. And I'm going to take care of you for the rest of your life. And listen, this is his story. All right. You said 161 of those pages were powered by AI. I don't know. What's up? I am Courtney. All right. Got my, let's go. Let's go, everybody. Let's go. And of course, they want dismissals, anti-slap, blah, 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 all that. They want all of it. Yes, hit that like button, everybody. Hit that like button. Let's get into this. Feel free to type in the chat as we're going along. Your opinions, your all that stuff, okay? This is a proposed, again, remember, nothing has been granted. This is just a proposal. Proposed order granting defendant's motion to dismiss pursuant to Pennsylvania's anti-slap statute. Okay? Upon consideration of the defendant Dwayne Youngblood's special motion to dismiss pursuant to Pennsylvania's anti-slap statute, and I have the coding in there. It is hereby ordered. So this is their proposed. So when you're seeing this, it is hereby ordered and stuff. Judge ain't signed nothing. This is just what they're hoping the judge will go ahead and put his John Hancock to. Oh, my God. Copy. You said, Lester, copy and paste. Lester, if you're in the building, you might want to, do some screenshots and things like this, okay? All right, so this is what he wants. This is what Youngblood wants the judge to sign off on, all right? He wants the judge to sign defendant's motion He wants the motion to be granted. He wants to dismiss with prejudice its entirety. He wants the defendant to be awarded attorney's fees, court costs, and litigation expenses. Defendant's counsel directed to submit a detailed, yeah. All right, so this is what he wants, everybody. What's up, T. Davis? Let me see here. Oh, I got to check into my flight. Hold on, y'all. Let me check into my flight real quick for tomorrow. Where's my other phone? While I do that, please hit that like button, everybody. I see Lester. Oh, what's it? Photos. He's submitting photos. What's he doing? Oh, Lord. My story. Okay. All right, Lester. We'll get to you in a minute. We over here with Jakes now. We'll get to you in a minute. Let's see here. I need to check it real quick, y'all. St. Louis. Check it now. Y'all hit that like button for me. Okay. Close. Okay. I don't have bags. Step and complete. All right, we're checked in. Let's go, y'all. Defendant's special motion to dismiss pursuant to Pennsylvania anti-SAP. I was reading to some of these affidavits, y'all. It's going to be quite interesting. Remember all the affidavits that he said? We're going to really skip to a lot of that. We ain't going to do a whole lot of this other stuff. But you see all this that is included, right? The introduction, the factual background, the legal standard, the argument, okay? Request to leave to file cross complaint, conclusion, and all that in between, all right? And this is a lot of the cases that he's going to quote, and we don't really go through all of the case law that they put on these. We don't do that. No, we don't. I'm up early, baby. It's what, 6:46 in California, but I'm in St. Louis right now. The court is tasked with addressing one of the most egregious attempts to pervert the judicial process for personal gain. Plaintiff Thomas Dexter T.D. Jakes, a self-proclaimed, Lord have mercy, here they go, a self-proclaimed spiritual leader referred by millions, has weaponized this lawsuit, not to seek justice, but to muzzle the voice of truth. His hypocrisy is staggering. Standing in the pulpit on Sundays to preach virtue while allegedly engaging in depraved acts, betraying the principles he claims to uphold. As scriptures warns, they quoting scriptures, y'all, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves, Matthew 7:15. Plaintiff epitomizes this warning, using his platform to project an image of righteousness while allegedly abusing his power to satisfy his closeted homosexual desires. Defendant Dwayne Youngblood, a survivor of clergy abuse and an advocate for transparency, stands accused of defamation and other baseless claims for daring to speak his truth. However, the defendant's narrative is not one of vengeance. It is one of redemption and accountability. By no means, hold on. Okay, we are there. I'm like, did I even put this up? Yeah, I did. Uh-oh. Don't want that. By no means is defendant a patron saint. What's up, Regina? saying he's not a patron. He has admittedly done things in his past that he is ashamed of. And after he has served his time, he has focused on publicly atoning for his actions. The defendant is trying to shed light on a systemic abuses within religious institutions. His statements, grounded in lived experience and supported by corroborating affidavits, testimony, are the very type of protected speech Pennsylvania's anti-SLAPP statute seeks to preserve. Hit that like button, everybody. This motion seeks to dismiss the plaintiff's retaliatory complaint and highlight the gross misuse of power by a man who has consistently avoided accountability. The Bible rebukes such duplicity. You should not misuse the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not hold anyone guiltless who misuses his name. Exodus 20:7. Now, Tyrone Blackburn, are you a minister, or are you being fed these scriptures by your dude, Youngblood? Just a question. Interesting. All right. Plaintiff's action represent an affront to this commandment, exploiting the sanctity of faith to shield his misconduct. By granting this motion, this court will affirm the principles of free speech and justice while ensuring that those who abuse their positions of power are held accountable. All right. Factual background. Okay, Lexington Walker, not sure about not sure about the scriptures. This isn't one of those chats, babe. Not one of those chats. Okay. We got enough scriptures in this little motion here, okay? As the leader of the Potter's House in Dallas, Texas, a mega church with an international following, plaintiff wields significant influence over millions of congregants and the broader Christian community. Despite this public image of moral authority, serious allegations have emerged accusing him of engaging in sexually exploitative behavior and abusing his position of power. Defendant Dwayne Youngblood is a survivor of childhood sexual abuse and a former pastor who has dedicated his life to raising awareness about systemic abuse within religious institutions. Defendant's disclosures are deeply personal, recounting his experiences of grooming and abuse by clergy members, including plaintiff. And remember, I described his alleged abuse earlier, okay? These statements are not recent fabrications, but part of a consistent narrative shared over decades, both privately and publicly. The defendant's experience have left lasting scars. Diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, anxiety disorder, and severe depression. Defendant has spent years in therapy addressing the impact of abuse he endured. His public statements are part of a broader therapeutic journey, rooted in a desire to heal and prevent others from suffering similar harm. Through this process, a defendant has taken responsibility for his past missteps, just missteps, y'all, and has become an advocate for survivors, exposing the pervasive issue of clergy abuse and calling for systemic reform. Remember, everybody, Dwayne Youngblood is a two-time convicted sex offender who's on the sex offenders list, all right? Multi-sworn affidavits corroborate defendant's account. Witnesses such as Jeffrey S. Gray and Richard Edwin Youngblood have provided detailed testimonies recounting defendant's disclosures about plaintiff. Jeffrey S. Gray attested to a specific incident in which plaintiff allegedly made unwelcome advances towards defendant following a church service in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. See Blackburn Exhibit A. Okay. Kind of want to. We'll go through the exhibits in a minute. Richard Edwin Youngblood confirmed that defendants consistently described plaintiff's attempts to groom him, including an alleged financial proposal contingent upon sexual favors. See Blackburn Exhibit B. In addition to Jeffrey S. Gray and Richard Edward Youngblood, y'all know that's Dwayne's brother, the defendant has affidavits from Daniel B. Spalding, LaShawn Youngblood, Joshua Munoz, and Landon Claiborne. Okay? Public scrutiny of plaintiff's behavior has intensified in recent years, fueled by viral social media content and investigative reporting. Oh, the grooming word is here, y'all. Don't worry about that. It's all up in here. Numerous reports have linked plaintiff to inappropriate relationship with young men and participation in sexual charge gatherings hosted by Sean Diddy Combs. Again, let me repeat that. Numerous reports have linked plaintiff to inappropriate relationships with young men and participation in sexually charged gatherings hosted by Sean Diddy Combs. Sean Combs is currently under federal indictment for RICO, sex trafficking, prostitution, etc. One of Mr. Combs' male sex workers has come forward and named Bishop Jakes as a participant in Diddy's freak-off parties. Have y'all seen that? Have y'all seen that? Allegations include plaintiff's alleged grooming of male mentees and his role is covering up misconduct within his religious organization. Oh, they added a lot of sauce. This is so saucy. There ain't no proof, Nia. They just putting it all in here. See Blackburn Exhibit G. More about TD Jakes' gay accusation plus pedophilia activities lands online. So it seems to me they're going to put a lot of undocumented rumors and accusations in this motion. Defendant has alleged that plaintiff and his associates have engaged in retaliatory conduct to silence him. Not only has plaintiff filed the baseless lawsuit, but defendant has also reported receiving threats from individuals associated with plaintiff, including his son. See Exhibit I, Jermaine Jake's social media threat. These actions have exacerbated defendant's PTSD and heightened his sense of vulnerability, reinforcing the psychological toll of his past trauma with plaintiff. And I guess it's an Exhibit J, that Linda Sturgevant's letter on. But again, remember, y'all, instead of going to the law, he sent the demand letter after the alleged threat from TD Jake's son. The PSD didn't drive him to sue Jakes or sue Jermaine. The PSD drove him to ask for $6 million. Let's keep that on the forefront, okay? Hit that like button, everybody. I didn't even set that thing right. I didn't set that goal right. I think it's going to end. Oh, well. I didn't set the goal right. It's okay. Far from malicious, hold on. No. Oh, here we go. Despite the mounting evidence of public discourse, I don't know about that, Plaintiff continues to portray himself as a moral and spiritual leader, using his platform to denounce those who seek accountability. His public sermons dismissing the allegation as lies starkly contrast the biblical principle he claims to uphold. As Proverbs 28:13 declares, whoever conceals their sin does not prosper, but the one who confesses and renounces them finds mercy. This is going to be riddled with a lot of a lot of scriptures, y'all. The plaintiff's refusal to address the allegations transparently underscores the hypocrisy of his position. And again, he is a spiritual leader. Maybe this is their angle. They're making Jake stand, according to the scriptures, I guess. Far from malicious, the defendant's statements are rooted in lived experience and serve a critical public purpose. By sharing his story, the defendant contributes to a broader conversation about systemic abuse. The failures of institutions to protect the vulnerable, because they sure didn't detect Dwayne's victims from him, and the urgent need for accountability. These disclosures align with Pennsylvania's anti-SLAPP statute's goal of protecting free expression on matters of public concern. The legal standard, in his statement when he said unwelcome advance and attempts to groom, these are two words may indicate that an actual act did not occur. Come on now. Come on. Listen here. Listen, Regina. Listen. But now he's saying they have, numerous reports with absolutely no proof, but he's put it all in his deal. What's up, promises manifested? All right. So key provisions of an anti-SLAPP, and these are just provisions of anti-SLAPP. Listen here, everybody. We got some exhibits to get to. So we're not going to go through what the provisions of anti-SLAPP are. We can do that at a different time. All right. Offense filed within 60 days, burden shifting. Okay. Award. They're talking about the awards if the anti-SLAPP is granted. All right. And I'm talking about some additional court, some case law that okay, let me say this. Public concern. The defendant's statements about plaintiff's misconduct highlight systemic abuse, institutional accountability, and the misuse of power by religious leaders. Courts consistently recognize such topics as matter of public concern. Okay, this court case here, the Supreme Court held that speech addressing public issues occupies the highest range of First Amendment protection. He's running off this First Amendment thing. Here, defendants' disclosures about plaintiffs' grooming and exploration directly contribute to public discourse on systemic abuse within religious institutions. The defendants' allegations were the latest in a chorus of allegations of sexual assault. He said there's been a chorus of allegations of sexual assault, closeted homosexuality, and grooming directed at Plaintiff Jakes. Ironically, Plaintiff Jakes has only opted to sue defendant, but has purportedly paid off several men who raised the same and or similar claims as defendant. My question, are they going to have any affidavits from these men that he's purportedly paid off? Okay. The allegations that plaintiff participated in sex parties and engaged in grooming behavior have been widely reported in public forums, including TikTok and investigative media. What investigative media? The defendant's statements such as Bishop Jakes groomed me, and he used his position as a pastor to manipulate and exploit me, are directly tied to these public conversations and contribute to broader societal awareness. Okay. Then he starts talking about free speech. He named some court cases in regards to free speech. Okay, Bishop Jakes is a self-proclaimed world-renowned spiritual leader, global philanthropist, author, firm, and music producer. Okay. All right. So they're talking about some case law in regards to that statement of him being the self-proclaimed, as they're saying. At this point, is he self-proclaimed? Good morning, Major Boys. Listen, everybody, thank you for coming in as always, but please don't just come in and take a seat. Come in and hit that subscribe button. If you are not a subscriber of the St. James Show, do hit that like button for me. Share on all your social media websites. And also become a member of the monthly member of the St. James Show. And there is your handle to always support monetarily, $ the St. James Show. All right. All right. So here is some more case law that they're trying to convince the judge of okay. Some more defamation case law. And we're not going to read all this case law. Remember, everybody, there is 160 something pages of this. All right. This is this is evidence. Okay. And they're saying that as evidenced by the defendant's sworn affidavit witness statement, his story has remained the same for 40 years. So again, I think what we're going to read is just statements that saying his story has remained the same for 40 years. Yeah, hey, Regina, I guess TikTok is an investigative media. It's like saying I've seen it on Wikipedia. Knowing good, Wikipedia. Yeah, self-proclaimed promises manifested. Yeah, self-proclaimed. T.D. Jakes is defamation proof. Public discourse about plaintiffs' alleged misconduct is widespread and well documented. Social media platforms and investigative reports, i.e. TikTok, have brought to light allegations of grooming, sexual abuse, and exploitation involving plaintiff, with specific claims alleging: 1, plaintiff's participation in sex parties by Sean Diddy Combs, as reported by multiple sources. Listen, y'all, I don't mean no harm, but we all know, sitting here in this chat, there has been absolutely no proof of T.D. Jakes or any other like celebrity to come out and say, to provide proof that they were in these freak-offs. So this is alleged, all this is alleged, but he's putting it in as his proof. And that's on the Exhibit L, Bishop T.D. Jakes and longtime friend accused of sexual assault. And Exhibit M, Kenneth Copeland and T.D. Jakes and Rick Warren are being accused of sexual abuse. LBT. They have scoped the internet, y'all, and they're throwing in a lot of just people. They be saying, they say that Donnie McClurkin is deceased and other people are deceased. That don't mean it's true, but they put it all on the internet. But he's quoting a lot of this stuff. Text messages allegedly sent by plaintiff to a male mentee containing flirtatious and inappropriate content. Remember, are they talking about what Larry Reed provided of Manasseh? What's up, Catherine? You said Wikipedia is more resourceful than TikTok. Well, I guess so, but they won't even let you use that in college, in school. Appropriate content, exhibit. Thank you so much, Kevin Moore, for putting a color on it. I totally, my goal thing, I think I messed up the time. Instead of I think I put 10 minutes or something. Allegations by plaintiff's former mentee, Manasseh Jordan, who claimed that plaintiff groomed and sexually assaulted him during his youth. And see, that's not what was presented. Regina, did we ever see anything that Manasseh or even Larry said, text messages that were sent to Manasseh were during his youth? That was never said. I'm just stating. I'm just saying. Let's read this again. Allegation by plaintiff's former mentee, my worship leader over here at the St. James Show, Manasseh Jordan, who, how dare you?
All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I will sing of the goodness of God.
My worship leader. Y'all hit that like button, everybody. Only 64 likes, y'all. Only 64 likes is in here. So he's saying, let me read this again so I can get it to my understanding. Allegations by plaintiff's former mentee, Manasseh Jordan, who we just had the privilege of listening to, who claimed that plaintiff groomed and sexually assaulted him during his youth. See, that wasn't what we heard, Blackburn. Okay. Alleged victim of Exhibit O, alleged victim of Bishop T.D. Jakes planning legal action. Yeah, I think that was one of Larry's. Statement from alleged victims of plaintiff include Bishop Jakes groomed me. There's an exhibit. Bishop Jakes sexually assaulted me. Another exhibit. He invited me to private meetings under the guise of spiritual mentorship only to violate my trust. He used a position as pastor to manipulate and exploit me. I was forced to remain silent while he continued to abuse others. Oh, my God. Is it the same guy that was supposed to take Jakes to court and never did? Yes. These are just a handful of statements made by individuals who have come forward to share their victimization by the plaintiff. Despite these allegations, the plaintiff continues to portray himself as a moral authority, preaching to millions while allegedly living a double life. It is clear from these articles, we did an article, that plaintiff Jakes has been the topic of discussion in the public for several years prior to his interview on Larry Reed Live on October 28, 2024. We got another scripture for y'all. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. Proverbs 13:20. Manasseh said, pass me by. Right. A man is known by the company he keeps, and not surprisingly, plaintiff keeps company with indicted RICO sex traffickers, Sean Combs, and alleged sexual assaulted members of the clergy, Eddie Long, Kenneth Copeland, and Rick Warren. Remember, everyone, he's strictly going off of social media posts here. For instance, here we go. Let's drag Eddie Long while he's in the grave. Bishop Eddie Long, a close compadre of a plaintiff, was accused of coercing young men into sexual relationships under the guise of spiritual mentorship. Although Long denied the allegation, he settled multiple lawsuits filed by his accusers. During the time these accusations came out, plaintiff stated in a CNN interview, August 2013, that what Bishop Long was going through concerning the allegations was a tragedy. He then said he tried to counsel and comfort Bishop Long. Other prominent figures such as Kenneth Copeland and Rick Warren have also faced accusation of sexual misconduct, highlighting systemic issues within religious institutions. See Blackburn Exhibit M. Defendants' public statements concerning his childhood. Sexual assaults committed by members of the clergy contribute to a broader conversation. Here we go, y'all. Here we go. Dwayne and his accomplice are so pathetic. This is sad what they're trying to do. Come on, Wilhelmina. Here is one of my quotes. Leave the big dog alone when you're walking around with the bone around your neck. Come on, Regina. The defendant's public statements contribute to a broader conversation about the systemic failures within religious institutions to protect vulnerable individuals. His disclosures are vital to ongoing efforts to protect future congregants from future harm. The Catholic Church, similarly, has faced a deluge of sexual abuse claims worldwide. Thousands of priests have been accused of sexually assaulting minors, leading to a multi-billion-dollar settlement and calls for systemic reform within the church. Reports indicate a long history of institutional cover-ups, where clergy members were relocated rather than held accountable for their actions. This pattern underscores the broader systemic issues within religious institutions that prioritize self-preservation over accountability and justice for victims, okay? Now, here, defendant statements are protected public expression. So he's really trying to say, this is under First Amendment. His statements about Bishop Jakes were just public expression. That's all. Defendant statements about plaintiffs are self-proclaimed globally. The defendant statements about plaintiff, a self-proclaimed globally prominent religious leader and public figure, address matters of significant public interest, including systemic abuse, institutional accountability, and the misuse of power within faith-based organizations. As a public figure, plaintiff must meet a heightened standard to claim defamation, as established in this case law here. The heightened standard exists to ensure that public discourse remains robust and inhibited, especially when addressing issues of social concern. My only thing with this, y'all, we're getting lost in the sauce here with a lot of this that he's putting in here. He's talking about freedom of speech. The freedom of speech kind of ended when you demanded $6 million. You can say what you want to say about anybody. But when you demand $6 million, or you're going to continue to say what you're going to say about that individual, that becomes another issue. Okay. You said, here comes Kenneth Copeland and Rick Warren can't be on the lookout. He's stirring the wrong pot here. He's stirring the wrong pot. And my thing is, let's not get lost in this, y'all. He's talking about free speech and just saying things. A lot of people have said things about Bishop Jakes and all these other people he's mentioning, but who sent a demand letter for $6 million or any other type of money? That's the question here. He's still talking about free speech, free speech, free speech. But you sent the demand letter for $6 million, or you said you will continue to talk. You could have continued to talk without sending a demand letter. Plaintiff Bishop Jakes is undeniably a public figure. See above, we know. As a public figure, plaintiff cannot claim defamation per se without proving actual malice. That is, that defendant knowingly published false information or acted with reckless disregard for the truth. The standard outlined in this case law serves to protect speech on matters of public concern, even if the speech is critical and unfavorable. Courts have consistently emphasized the importance of safeguarding discussions about public figures to prevent a chilling effect on free expression. Okay. He has another exhibit here. Defendant statements made during an interview on Larry Reed Live address issues of systemic abuse within religious institutions and included personal accounts of misconduct by plaintiffs visited upon defendant. The statements contribute to a broader societal dialogue and firmly protected under Pennsylvania's anti-SLAPP statute and the First Amendment. The defendant's statements were made during a widely respected interview on Larry Reed Live, a premier YouTube platform that champions community advocacy and reform, particularly clergymen and altruistic, particularly within the Black church and the broader African diaspora. Hosted by Mr. Larry Reed, an artist, clergyman, altruistic entrepreneur, the platform provides survivors of clergy abuse a safe space to voice their experiences and raise awareness about systemic issues, including sexual abuse and institutional corruption. Hit that like button, everybody. Defendant statements about plaintiff, a globally prominent religious leader, address matters of significant public interest, including systemic abuse, institutional accountability, and the misuse of power within faith-based organizations. Under Pennsylvania's anti-SLAPP statute, such speech is safeguarded when it pertains to public concern and contributes to societal discourse. Reading some comments. All right. Matters of public concern. Speech involving public figures and institutions addressing societal systemic issues is accorded the highest level of First Amendment protection. Yeah, this is just this First Amendment thing keeps getting thrown out there, and I'm sure because it has to do with the anti-SLAPP, but yeah, okay. Spearheaded the national practice of holding clergymen accountable. In Pennsylvania, public policy underscores the importance of investigating and eradicating sexual abuse within clergy. The commitment was, you know what that means. And by 2018, Pennsylvania grand jury report, which detailed decades of systemic abuse and cover-ups within the Catholic Church. Yeah, we got that. Yeah, but he was a clergyman. Youngblood was a clergyman also, and in Pennsylvania that got, So, yeah. Hold on. All right. First Amendment protects freedom of speech, but there are some restrictions. These restrictions include obscenity, defamation, incitement, true threats, commercial speech, copyright or patent rights, classified information, and trade secrets. So First Amendment doesn't include defamation. Okay? But of course, they're saying, thank you for sending me. But of course, they're saying it's not defamation because this has already been in on TikTok. All right, they start talking about all of that. That's a lot of the dialogue. They get anti-SLAPP protections. Okay. All right, what's the statement? The statute mandates that its provisions be broadly constructed to encourage participation in public discourse on matters of significant societal importance. Defendant statements on Larry Reed Live pertained to allegation of misconduct by plaintiff, a globally recognized religious leader, and systemic issues within the church. These are quintessential matters of public concern. Okay, all right. Once burden shifting to plaintiff, once defendant demonstrates that the claims arise from protected public expression, the burden shifts to plaintiff to establish a prima facie case for each element of their claims. Plaintiff must present admissible evidence to prove that defendant's statements were false and made with actual malice, as that case law. However, Plaintiff has failed to provide credible evidence to meet this burden, relying instead on speculative assertions. All right, immunity and judgment of matter-of-fact law. The state statute provides immunity if the plaintiff cannot establish a prima facie, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, case, or if the court determines that there is no genuine issue of material fact entitling the defendant to judgment as a matter of law. Here, defendant statements are supported by affidavits, public reports, and corroborating testimony. The plaintiff's inability to demonstrate actual malice or falsity renders their claims legally insufficient. Okay. Stay of proceedings and cost. Filing a special motion to dismiss stays all proceedings, including discovery, unless limited discovery is necessary to determine the motion's outcome. The court has denied plaintiff's motion for expedited discovery, but not the full discovery. This provision prevents plaintiffs from using the litigation process as a means of harassment. Prevailing defendants are entitled to attorney fees, court costs, and litigation expenses. Defendant respectfully seeks such relief as plaintiff claims are baseless and serve only to burden the judicial system. Guess he was just supposed to give him $6 million and hit the road, Jack, I guess. I don't know. They don't want to explain that, Nia. No. Okay, there's some more case law. Okay, plaintiff cannot meet the burden of proof or falsity of demonstrating that the defendant's statements lack substantial truth. They're saying their statements are true. The defendant's statements based on personal experience and corroborated accounts were made in good faith and with the intent to expose systemic abuse. The plaintiff had offered no evidence to support claims of actual malice. We're going to read some affidavits, y'all. Thank you, because I put the wrong time on there, Mari. I appreciate you even still supporting. I put the wrong time on there. All right. Civil conspiracy claims. To state a claim for civil conspiracy, a plaintiff must allege a combination of two or more persons to do a criminal act or to do a lawful act by unlawful means or for an unlawful purpose. There's a case law. The plaintiff must make specific factual allegations, a combination agreement or understanding among all or between any of the defendants to plot, plan, or conspire to carry out the alleged chain of events. There's the case law there. The allegations of conspiracy must be grounded firmly in facts. They cannot be conclusory, nor can they hinge on bare suspicions and foundationless speculation. Case law there. Okay. No evidence of unlawful agreement. Civil conspiracy under Pennsylvania law requires proof of an agreement to perform an unlawful act or achieve a lawful result through unlawful means and overt acts in furtherance of that agreement. Case law there. Plaintiff's allegations of coordination between defendant and others are speculative at best and unsupported by any credible evidence of an agreement to harm the plaintiff. Lack of actionable underlying tort. Civil conspiracy is a derivative claim that requires an actionable underlying tort. Here, the plaintiff defamation claim as a matter of law, rendering the conspiracy claim legally unsustainable. Without an actionable tort, the civil conspiracy claim must also be dismissed, right? So they are providing information as to why they believe pretty much the burden of proof hasn't been rendered in regards to conspiracy. They're saying that it's baseless. There was no proof. They're just going off of speculation. Okay. As Your Honor articulated in his opinion denying the plaintiff's motion for expedited discovery, the plaintiff's conspiracy claims are bald and vague assertions that other individuals are part of a conspiracy to defame Jakes. All right. Okay, he's saying why he should get the attorney fees. Okay. This is all related to the anti-SLAPP. Okay. Got that. Okay. Request for leave to file cross complaint. Defendant Dwayne Youngblood respectfully seeks leave for this court to file a cross complaint against plaintiff T.D. Jakes and his son. Now he wants to do it. His son, Jermaine Jakes, for the social media threat sent by Jermaine Jakes on November 3rd, 2024. The threat, which stated, "You might be in dangerous territory, Dwayne, just be careful," was sent from Texas and received by the defendant in Pennsylvania. This cross complaint would assert the strongest available causes of action under the laws of both jurisdictions as outlined below. Okay. Yep, another money grab there, Nicole. They plan to sue Jakes. They want to sue Jakes after this. Additionally, the defendant must have acted intentionally and recklessly, and the plaintiff must have suffered severe emotional distress as a result. Okay, the threat it is saying the threat exacerbated defendant's PSD as documented in his therapist report and caused significant emotional distress. When did you go to the therapist for that text message, Dwayne? Was this after the complaint was filed or before? Wayne? The threat received in Pennsylvania has directly impacted the defendant's mental health, causing hyperventilation, panic attacks, and a pervasive fear for his safety. These effects are well documented in his therapist report and meet the threshold of IIED. So now, y'all, he's saying that the so-called threats Jermaine Jakes gave him before he sent the demand letter have caused him PSD, and he wants to do a cross complaint and sue. Defendant respectfully requests that this court grant leave to file a cross complaint against T.D. Jakes and Jermaine Jakes for their roles in the social media threat and in resulting harm suffered by defendant. In conclusion, plaintiff claims represent a clear and troubling attempt to misuse the judicial process to silence protected speech and suppress public dialogue on matters of profound societal importance. The defendant's statements made on a platform dedicated to fostering awareness and reform contribute to critical conversation about systemic abuse, institutional accountability, and the long-term impact of misconduct within religious organizations. These statements are indisputably protected under Pennsylvania's anti-SLAPP statute and the First Amendment. The plaintiff has failed to meet the legal standards required to sustain claims of defamation per se and civil conspiracy. The lack of evidence demonstrating falsity, malice, or any accountable harm renders the plaintiff's claims legally and factually insufficient. Furthermore, the plaintiff's reliance on speculative assertions underscores the retaliatory nature of this litigation, which serves only to chill free speech and burden the judicial system. The Pennsylvania anti-SLAPP statute is a critical safeguard against precisely this type of abuse, ensuring that individuals can engage in public advocacy without fear of financial ruin or protracted legal battles. By dismissing this lawsuit with prejudice, the court will uphold the statute legislative intent, protect constitutionally guaranteed freedoms, and send a strong message that meritless claims designed to intimidate and silence will not be tolerated. Defendants respectfully request that this court, 1, dismiss plaintiff's complaint with prejudice, 2, award defendant fees, court costs, and litigation expenses according to 42 PACS, blah, blah, blah. Grant defendant leave to file a cross complaint against Jermaine Jakes and plaintiff. And number 4, grant any further relief this court deems just and proper. Okay, that was signed by Tyrone Blackburn. Again, everybody, they're talking about free speech. They're talking about the right for advocacy. You can go and you can talk about, something that has already been in the internet, blah, blah, blah. But again, they didn't mention anything about the $6 million grab. I didn't see it. Maybe I read over it. I didn't see anything in regards to the $6 million request. I think they just want that to go away with the wind. Okay. Oh, and this is a sworn affidavit from Dwayne Youngblood. Okay. Oh, Lord. I am defending an above captioned case and submit this affidavit in further support of my anti-slap motion. Check this out. When I was 9 years old, my life took a dark turn as I began to experience sexual abuse. I shared these painful experiences publicly during an interview on October 28, 2024 on Larry Reed Live, titled "The Abused Became the Abuser." Over the course of the 2-hour interview, I revealed a personal truth that I've carried for decades, recounting my journey and trauma. Okay, I began the interview by dedicating nearly an hour to discussing my own history of abusing others, including my arrests, convictions, and time in prison for my actions. I did so with the intent to take accountability and to demonstrate my commitment to transparency in telling my story. As a child, I lived in a household where my father abused my sister. The abuse continued for over 5 years, from the time I was 9 until I was around 14. Growing up in this environment was deeply confusing and traumatic. At the age of 12, I entered a singing competition and won. That summer, while traveling with Christine McCaskill, I was sexually abused on 3 separate occasions. These incidents compounded the trauma I was already enduring. At 16, I encountered further abuse. Our church's head bishop, Quander Wilson, invited me to his home in Columbus, Ohio, after preaching at our church in Homestead, Pennsylvania. He showed me to a room at the end of the hall with a large bed and a big TV. Later that night, he came into the room and undressed and got into bed. I was shocked and frightened. When I stirred, he pretended to be praying for me, but his actions had already crossed clear boundaries. As I grew, dismissing the letter requested. No, there's no letter. He didn't mention the $6 million, Regina. No. As I grew older, I crossed paths with other prominent church figures. I met Bishop T.D. Jakes during one of his visits in Pittsburgh. After a dinner celebrating his birthday, I drove him back to his lodging. Once there, he invited me in and we talked for an hour. It was a deep, emotional conversation that brought me to tears. As I prepared to leave, he pulled me close and tried to kiss me. The next morning, he called my family's home, spoke to my mother, and then told me he wanted me to be the only person he had sexual relationship with when he came to town. He also made it clear that I wasn't to be involved with anyone else and promised to take care of me for life. I did not agree to this. I also spoke about Bishop Sherman Watkins, the leader of the organization my church belonged to. In 2005, I left the organization, but before that, I accompanied Bishop Watkins on a trip to Miami. One evening, when the hotel's massage service was unavailable, he offered to give me a massage. Reluctantly, I agreed. During the massage, he crossed clear boundaries, touching me inappropriately. The next day, our interactions felt strained, but I chose to confront him about his actions later and ultimately left the organization. Lord, ain't this, ooh, no, y'all hit the like button. Maybe it's coming, Jesse. After the years, I have worked tirelessly to process and heal from these painful experiences. I have shared my story with family and close friends, sought therapy, and found solace in resources like It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin. This book helped me understand how unresolved patterns contributed to my own struggles. Through reflection and reconciliation, I have worked to heal and protect and break the cycle of harm. I don't know about that. Sharing my story publicly was not easy. Each individual I spoke about in the interview is a respected church leader, but I felt compelled to expose how abuse can remain hidden within church systems. The interview gave me the platform to speak honestly, and since its airing, others have reached out to share how my story has empowered them to confront their own experiences of abuse. While I understand that Bishop Jakes has focused on the portion of the interview that involved him, it was just a small part of a much larger narrative. My intention was never to target him or anyone else with malice. My purpose was to shed light on the trauma and abuse that have long gone unchecked in our communities and to use my experience to help others heal. Again, everybody, I'm waiting for the $6 million grab and him to speak to that. I firmly believe that recounting one's personal experiences, particularly to shed light on systemic issues and advocate for change, is a constitutionally protected right. To silence such speech would be to deny survivors the opportunity to share their truth and contribute to necessary reform. It is also important to note that during the interview, my comments about TD Jakes were made in the context of a broader conversation about systemic failures in the church, the signs of grooming, and the need for accountability among leaders. The intention was not to target any single individual, but to create a dialogue that might lead to institutional change. I declare under penalty of perjury the foregoing is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. Again, everybody, he has not spoken to the issue of, what's up, Abba Love? The issue of the $6 million grab. All right, what is this? Okay, this is just an affidavit about being able to do the anti-SLAPP. There's a bunch of exhibits, and again, a lot of exhibits, everyone, is just stories of accusations that have been on the internet. You got to remember that, okay? Exhibit A. Sworn affidavit. This is from Jeffrey S. Gray. Okay. I am providing the sworn affidavit to present my knowledge regarding the claims raised by Dwayne Youngblood concerning Bishop T.D. Jakes. This document is based on my direct observation, experience, and any relevant facts within my knowledge. Let's just read. I'm not going to read all of them, but these are affidavits that these people are, I guess, hold on. Personal interaction with Dwayne. Okay. On or about 1992, while I was employed with Merrill Lynch Company, I visited one of T.D. Jakes' colleagues for business. The situation turned questionable as gay advances were made towards me during the meeting by a male bishop. I declined the advances and quickly left the premises. Because I knew Youngblood was familiar with this clergyman, I shared my experience with Dwayne, and that was when Dwayne shared his experience concerning T.D. Jakes. This is what I recall concerning Dwayne's experience. He shared that as a young man, he was serving as a concierge for preaching a revival. And he shared a protocol of hospitality. Yes, Dwayne shared that one night after the church service. Dwayne transported Dwayne said Dwayne was leaving the host home, and placed him in an uninvited listen here. Here we go. Dwayne says that as Dwayne was leaving the host home, that T.D. Jakes, a large, burly man, placed him in an uninvited bear hug and proceeded to try and kiss Dwayne. Dwayne says he was shocked and managed to wrestle himself out of the minister's grip. Lord, it's getting even more deeper. Now he had to wrestle himself out of the minister's grip. The minister, according to Dwayne, reached out the following morning by telephone and proposed a romantic, long-term gay relationship with Dwayne for when the minister visited Pittsburgh. So that was one affidavit. Regina says, my thoughts, he should write T.D. Jakes a letter apologizing for all of this. This informed T.D. Jakes he was allegedly coerced to do the $6 million letter and that he retracts the $6 million letter. Dwayne just be saying a bunch of nothing. If the judge can't see through him, it's because he doesn't want to. Now it's a big burly man. Now they're adding yeast to the story. Yeah, he didn't sue Sherman Watkins for $6 million. And he actually touched you, you're saying. He actually put his hands on you inappropriately in a massage, but he didn't actually sue him. Yeah, they really going to declare under penalty of law all of this. Yeah, they was in a wrestling match now. He was a big burly man and he had to wrestle his way away from him. Yeah. So no, absolutely none. So that was an affidavit from him. Now this guy isn't saying that T.D. Jakes did it. He's saying another bishop, but then he said he shared his story and then Dwayne told him about his story. This is Richard Edward Youngblood. Of course, this is the brother of Dwayne. Personal interaction with Dwayne concerning, in the fall of 1990, I spoke with Dwayne on the phone about personal matter between Elder T.D. Jakes and I. After sharing with him what happened to me, he began to tell me about his interaction he'd had with Jakes. He told me that he had gone over to the home, and we're not going to go through all of that, the same thing, sounding like, okay, hold on, let me see what he says about the kiss. The thing. Told me that he'd gone over to the home, speaking with him, the life, some of the things had gone. Dwayne said he noticed it was getting late, and then he got up to Jakes met him and tried to kiss him. He expressed how awkward and stunned and uncomfortable it felt. Then he shared that he had received a call, with him for preaching engagement. Both obviously astonished, concerned. And this is let's talk about personal experience with Jakes from Richard. You said this sounds like a bad expose novel. It's not a good one. On or about the spring of 1986, I was a young minister who was hungering after God. This is Richard talking, y'all. I was in the midst of personal time of prayer and fasting, concerning my desire for someone to help me reach my full potential. I remember praying these words, Lord, I feel like Joshua. I need a Moses in my life. It was at this point that my father tells me about Elder T.D. Jakes, who was the guest speaker at the Refuge Temple Church in Penn Hills, PA. The pastor at the time was Elder Rawlings. The week-long event began every night, and at around 8, I decided to attend to see if what my father said was true. To my amazing, absolutely correct in my opinion, Elder Jakes was a powerful revolutionary, thinking he was ability. All right, following one of the services that week, I asked Elder Jakes if I could drive him to his church. Boy, they want to drive Jakes They want to drive Jakes everywhere. They just want to drive Jakes. Thank you, Roseworth, for putting a color on it. Did he sue Bishop Wilson, who allegedly stripped down and got into bed? Well, Bishop Wilson is no longer with us, I believe. But no, he didn't sue anybody. Thank you for putting the color on it, Roseworth. We had a goal of 15 today, but I forgot. I messed up the goal. But y'all can still do those super chats. All right. I asked if I can drive him to the church, West Virginia, since he was turning for the following week. To my shock, he said yes. That weekend, I was a guest in his home where I met his wife and other 2 sons. That Sunday, we went to a town called Smithers, where the Temple of Faith resides. Elder Jakes told me that it was a former theater that had been condemned. They purchased it and was renovating it. The church service that Sunday was another phenomenal experience. The following day, we headed back to Pittsburgh for a second week of services. On the drive back, Elder Jesse said to me, Brother Youngblood, I've got some good brothers at my church, but in many ways, I feel like Moses looking for Joshua. This statement sounded like a direct answer to the prayer I had prayed just days ago. I took this as a sign that I had found the right person to help me reach my potential in ministry. I had a later conversation with him where I let him know of my intentions to relocate to West Virginia so I could sit under his tutelage. At that time, I was a husband and father, and I had to share all of this with my wife and family. My wife offered no resistance to my desire to relocate. We packed our house and all belongings and moved to Charleston, West Virginia. We pulled up to front of Elder Jake's house. Following that, I believe was going to be the best move of my life as a young minister. As I began to integrate myself in the Temple of Faith, I was given responsibilities to both the church as well as Elder Jakes and family. I eventually given the responsibility of his armor bearer. In position, I assisted him as a variety of things, such as driving, carrying the items he needed for the preaching, i.e. Bible and robe, traveling with him as my schedule allowed to other cities, as well as being available throughout the day if he needed my assistance in some matters. It was during this time that I also became praise and worship leader. All of this happened within 2 year period of time. During this time, my wife and I have our son. He was born in June 1987. This is my landmark of when things started to become weird. The conversations Jake started to have with me had shifted from ministry and God to more things about him. He shared an uncomfortable story about how he taught his wife to have oral sex with him. Lord have mercy, not Sarita. There were other uncomfortable things he said, which I tried very hard to put into perspective so that it would make sense for me. He continued his travels around the country, some without me and others I accompanied him. I recall on one trip to a city called Lego in West Virginia, he told me that it was a church that handled snakes, but they had agreed not to handle them on that particular Sunday. We joked about where we would have run if they had brought them out. This was just one of the many trips and conversation we had at this point. At this time, the Temple of Faith was part of a larger organization named Greater Emmanuel Apostolic Faith Church, Inc., whatever. Elder Jakes had been promoted to national evangelist, which required travel to other churches in the fellowship. Let me get to the nitty gritty here. Okay, so, okay, get up to the visit. Okay, decided and head hotel for the night. He started to believe there were 2. We secured, okay, he decided that we would head there a day early, which meant we had to get a hotel for the night. We stopped at what I believe was an Econo Lodge in Westover, West Virginia. He secured a room with 2 beds in it, and we went to the room for the night. That night, while I was laying in my bed, I felt Elder Jakes climb into my bed. He pressed his body against mine and asked Youngblood, "Do you feel that?" He was referencing his erection that he was pressing against my backside. I got up out of the bed in complete shock, and he also got up from the opposite side and met me. He grabbed me by my arms and pulled me to him and started trying to kiss me. At this point, I cannot believe what is happening to me. I had moved my family following this man around the country, and in this hotel, I am being introduced to what amounted to a groomer. I thought about everything he said or done, and now it started looking like a plot. I was somehow able to make it through the night with no further interaction along that line, and the following day, we continued our trip to Pittsburgh. On our way back after the meeting, I brought up what happened and expressed my extreme discomfort and that I loved my wife. His response was a slight grunt, something like, to which I asked, what that mean? And he responded, it kind of hurt his feelings to hear me say that. I am now more confused than ever about what I've gotten myself and my family into. The following week at church, I am not the same. The life-changing event in that hotel in Westover had left me trying to make sense of things. I decided to share what happened in that hotel with one of the elders in the church named Silas Wheeler. I told him everything that happened in that Econo Lodge in Westover, West Virginia. I was looking for someone to help me make sense of this, but I would find out that Silas was not that person. He immediately went to Bishop Jakes and told him what I had shared. Jakes subsequently calls me into the office where he berates me for sharing what happened. He says it was like Wheeler was in the hotel with the camera. He then says, you didn't care about my wife, to suggest she may find out this secret. At this point, I am not only confused, but I am betrayed by Silas Wheeler. There was one other minister who shared a duplex with us and I felt close to, so I decided to ask him if Jakes had ever tried anything sexually with him, to which he responded, I've never been woke up with nothing like that. Then he began the internal conversation within me concerning what I must have done to make Bishop Jakes think I was gay. Eventually, he told me that I can no longer attend the church, called my wife, told her that I was a liar and to beware of me, and also that even though I was no longer allowed to attend the church, she could. I called him after being told this from my wife and shared some choice words. From that day until recent, I have had mental and spiritual anguish as I was left to bear such a burden as the secret of Jakes' sexuality and the way in which I found out. It's been 39 years of my life. My now ex-wife and our children, products of a broken home, and our faith crushed to pieces, all because I simply wanted someone to help me become my best self. I was totally and completely deceived by Thomas Dexter Jakes. And he says his statements are true this third day of December. What y'all think? Oh, you love your wife. What, didn't still love her when you did those things? Well, no. This was Richard, Regina. That was Richard. That was the brother of Dwayne. This story was the brother of Dwayne. Okay? That wasn't Dwayne. That was Richard. These are such groundbreaking affidavits. Yes. And this is what these folks windmill for. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What is this affidavit? Spalding. What is this? Messenger service. Sworn affidavit. Okay. Who is this from? Daniel D. Spalding. Let me make this smaller. Okay. This is from Daniel D. Spalding. Back in the spring of 2006, I lived with Dwayne Youngblood at 500 Westinghouse Avenue, Pennsylvania. One evening, Dwayne told me that when he was a young man, he took TD Jakes out to eat. At some point that evening, Jakes had a sexual or inappropriate pass at him. Dwayne also said that Jakes had later called him and said that he would like for the two of them to have an exclusive sexual relationship. These experiences have shaped my understanding and perspective on the claims raised by Dwayne Youngblood. All right, that's another affidavit, y'all. That was by Daniel B. Spalding. These are the explosive affidavits that we were waiting for. Right? Here's one by LaShawn Youngblood. Is this his wife? I'm providing a sworn affidavit knowledge regarding claims based on my direct observation, experience, and relevant facts within my knowledge. How long is your thing? Your thing is pretty long. Let me see. Dwayne sat me down and told me that he needed to talk to me. He went through his childhood and told me why he felt he needed to leave the organization Higher Ground. One of his interaction with Bishop Jakes. Okay, birthday. Okay, that's the same thing. Sister Giles' house. Safe. Okay, Dwayne said at some point he looked at his watch, jumped up. Not to mention he had his mother's car. Mrs. Youngblood didn't let anyone drive the car. Dwayne said he needed to get to mother's house. Okay. Dwayne said Bishop Jakes then proceeded to try and kiss him. He said that he was shocked and could not believe what was happening. Okay. All right. Dwayne asked if he could told anyone. He said no. He did tell me the next day. Bishop Jakes called his house. Mother answered. Bubble bath. Okay. I wanted him. He said Dwayne cannot be with anyone else. Okay. You see the envelope was in a few years later, in the spring of 2015, I received an envelope from Dwayne, who was in the county jail in Pittsburgh. He told me that he wanted to write about his life in detail and would decide later what to do with it. He wasn't sure if he wanted to make a book out of it or just get his thoughts out. Asked me to hold on to it until he talked about it again. Later that evening, alone in my bedroom, I opened the envelope and read what looked and felt like it was a book because there were so many sheets of lined notebook paper. Well, honey, he was in jail. He ain't had nothing else to do. In prison. I sat at that bed and read beginning. Dwayne had written about his life. When I got to the pages about T.D. Jakes, it was word for word what Dwayne had shared with me years prior. It was the same story. So, these affidavits are just saying that he's been telling y'all the same story for years and upon years upon years. Okay. Now, LaShawn Youngblood, I'm assuming that is his wife. Is that the wife? Yes, Simone style. That's what's going on here. She said, so they're repeating what he's told them, which is basically hearsay. Yes, you're correct. What affidavit is this? That is Joshua Munoz. Let me see. Met Dwayne 2015. He stated, developed a friendship around this time, became strong for 2020 when he started to meet regular weekly. Okay, TDJ. All right, he told Dwayne too. He told Joshua Munoz too. And this is Ladisa Claiborne. In 2020, I began reconnecting with Dwayne and going out to lunch a few dinners. On one of the times, he began to tell me the story of his life and what happened to him along the way. He told me about the interaction with T.D. Jakes. All right. And later tried to kiss him. He then told me a telephone call with Jakes made an offer to take care of him for the rest of his life, if he would only have sex with him when he came to Pittsburgh. He also shared other stories with me about other parties of his life. These experiences shaped, I tell you this, it's amazing to me how Jakes allegedly wanted to take care of him for the rest of his life, have sex with him, and they hadn't had any of that interaction. How does he know he want to take care of it? They ain't had sex. It may not even be worth taking care of him for the rest of his life. Oh, God, Lord. Give us strength, Jesus. More about, so those were the affidavits, y'all. Those were the wrenching, explosive affidavits, all right? Now he's going to give us exhibits about stories, more about TD Jake's accusations plus activities online. That's some kind of story. I don't know, some kind of story. Black Twitter community is going crazy. So this story is talking about what's on the internet. Okay. Where is the PDJ? So he's giving all these exhibits of just stories of people who were talking about this, especially primarily during the P. Diddy situation. Yes. So it's true. I got to do is repent sincerely from the heart. So all they're doing is bringing to light the different things that has been swirling in the internet. Affidavits are what the paper, no, they're not. They're not. Youngblood is sick, dumb, and can't be trusted. And other bloggers are going to tell you this was an explosive response. You said niggas lie to you every day, baby. I should sue. Start it up. Get Lester over there. He probably tried to throw himself on Jay. I don't know, D-Rock. Maury says at this point that he dreamt the whole part about Jake's. Jake's was his fantasy. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Do you know the year? I remember a blog written by, yes, he did. He's been doing this blog for years. His brother Richard has been doing the blog for years. Yes, he does have a credit repair. Yes, he does. He has a credit repair business. That's his gig. That's Dwayne's gig. At the Bear. Yeah. Started traveling with Jake's after. You said, I'm a little behind. Landlord called. But he moved and started traveling with Jake's after the whole bearing, kissing attempt and bubble bath. Yes, the brother did, not Dwayne. The brother did. That big long thing about, him moving, that was the brother who moved. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Explosive, Simone Styles. It's explosive. Issue with X, aka Twitter, there's no fact check. So absolutely none. And for you to put him in as a matter of fact as to why you were, felt fine to give your statements, but still, everyone, let's not forget there was no mention of why they sent that $6 million demand letter that was in the original complaint. That wasn't responded to. They're only responding to, there was just vague and assertions as to the conspiracy. Okay. Right. Please will swear this is enough to tell. Right. They're going to definitely say, oh, this is it. This is all he needed. Jakes, you drop this case right now. Oh, God. Oh, don't further embarrass yourself. Oh, that's what they're going to say. Credit report. I wonder if the states allow credit repair. But listen here, somebody ought to go call the folks and ask them. So he's just doing more. This is back in 2023 when it was all popping. Every Christianity Today, everybody had it. Twitter, TikTok. These are just all the stories. So these are all their exhibits, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. These are the exhibits that he's providing. And this is the proof that it proves that, you know, he's been in the freak parties. Now, we got no proof of any of that. He did go to a party, but to our knowledge, he left before the freak offs, before the oil was squirted out on everybody, okay? Before the baby oil was squirted. And this is which has caused him a lot of PSD. This is the PSD moment with Jermaine D. Jakes, and Jermaine put, you know, question marks and then put, you might be in dangerous territory, Dwayne. Just be careful. Now remember that he did say that him and Dwayne, him and Jermaine in the past had some type of interaction. So he's saying this here is a threat. Now, it depends on how you read it, if you want to interpret it as a threat. But remember, after he received this on the 3rd, then not too many days after, they sent the demand letter for $6 million. Now, in this response, they're saying this particular so-called threat has caused him PSD, and he went and had therapy about it. Okay? Just making sure y'all know that. And this is his, now, mind you, see the date? Okay. He had therapy. This is January 20th, 2025. Let's see. Okay. This is psychological diagnosis. Mr. Youngblood presents the following symptoms consistent with PTSD. Tyrone Youngblood must have told him to go to therapy. How are you tying all this to Jermaine saying you may be dancing in some bad territory? Threat from Jermaine Jakes. A message perceived as carrying a direct threat of harm from Jermaine Jakes has profoundly amplified Mr. Youngblood's psychological distress. The explicit nature of the threat triggered intense flashbacks linking the danger to his unresolved trauma from childhood abuse. This event has heightened his hyperventilation, leading to increased panic attacks and sleep disturbances. His fear of physical harm now dominates his daily life, eroding any sense of safety or stability. Mr. Youngblood reports that perceived threats has caused him to lose sleep and to remain constantly on edge. He finds himself afraid to open his door or check his mail, and he feels compelled to look over his shoulder wherever he goes. The fact that this perceived threat from Jermaine Jakes, a person with whom he had not spoken in over 10 years, has added an element of shock and betrayal, intensifying his emotional turmoil. Trauma-informed therapy. Yeah, they went and I think they went on, and after the $6 million money grab, they went on and sent Dwayne over to therapy. Tyrone thinks he's extremely smart. Yes, Lady Wisdom. The party I saw was outside on a platform with his wife one summer. Was there a different party? A party I saw outside on a platform with his wife. I'm not sure, JP. JP gets a question of the hour. Could those physical outcomes be the result of his incarceration? He wasn't traumatized in prison. He was traumatized, everyone, by this from Jermaine Jakes. He was traumatized by this. This is what traumatized him. Not by being incarcerated, not by, the unfortunate acts he did on his victims that he was in prison for. This perceived on his, perceived threat. You might be in dangerous territory, Dwayne. Just be careful. That led him to go to therapy after the $6 million money grab. When was he released from? I don't really have the date, but it was in last year. It was about, or I think so. When he went on Larry's program, I think they said he had been out for about 9 months, 6 to 9 months. He had been out. I don't really have the dates on that. Yeah. Listen here, y'all. This is the report from his therapist. Conclusion. Mr. Youngblood's journey underscores the devastating impact of untreated childhood trauma and the complexities of navigating life as both a victim and someone striving for redemption. Ain't this a mess? This combination of historic abuse, current threats, and the seeming retaliatory litigation has profoundly disturbed his mental health, leaving him in a state of heightened vulnerability. Despite these challenges, his commitment to therapy, self-awareness, and advocacy illustrates a remarkable strength and resilience. It is imperative that Mr. Youngblood is supported through a multifaceted approach, combining trauma-informed care, legal protection, and community advocacy. Beyond individual recovery, his experience highlights systematic failures within institutions that must be addressed to prevent further harm. Supporting Mr. Youngblood is not just about aiding one individual. It is a step toward fostering accountability and creating a safer environment for survivors everywhere. I tell you the truth. Here he has with more stories. More stories that was just in the, just stories that were posted. These are all his evidence of his right to tell his story. But you're forgetting, Dwayne, you sent the $6 million money grab. These are just stories, exhibits, TikTok stories. That's all this is. This is the explosive response. This is what warrants him an anti-slap. All this warrants him an anti-slap. Wasn't that picture a mess? That picture was the worst. It's been said that the young man was forced to perform sloppy toppy, the identified man in the recording said. But remember, Richard J. remains silent on the arrest of his son-in-law, Richard Brandon Coleman, for sexual. Yeah, it still ain't got nothing to do with Jake's, legally. Now he's bringing in Kenneth Copeland and Rick Warren. He's stirring up the pot. Allegations. No proof. Text message surface of alleged power bottom Bishop T.D. Jakes being flirtatious with another man. And remember, this is Manasseh. This is Manasseh's stuff that Larry Reed took off of his laptop or iPad or whatever. These were the explosive text messages that they put up to next to Eddie Long. This is all of their proof, y'all. This is the explosive proof. Right. TD Jakes was in the gym. They done put Manasseh's face in, not our worship leader. Manasseh and Jordan said, we ain't got nothing to do with this. And these are all supposed to be damning text messages. Damning text message that we never seen a lawsuit or anything. Victims come forward about Bishop T.D. Jakes' plans to file sexual assault lawsuits. That never happened. That never happened. Just to let y'all know. Never happened. Who they Gerald Jackson. My name is Gerald Jackson. Creative. I do the way with the truth. Always speak to my mind before I. Oh, that was Gerald. That was the New York. Is this Gerald's thing? Is this Gerald's? I don't know if this is Gerald's or not. Oh yeah, the New York. This is Gerald Jackson, the NCB. He's a blogger. He has his own thing. He reported what everybody else was reporting. What is it? Oh, New York Times. Okay. Just stories, y'all. That's all we got. These are all the exhibits. These are the explosive exhibits. These are what they're going to say. Oh, he ought to drop the lawsuit. Oh, yeah. What is this? Case of acts protected public expression. All right. They're still talking about it's just public expression. Philadelphia News. Okay. Yeah. Toward the end. I don't know what this is. It's just blank right now. It's probably because it's just slow. It's probably slow, but it ain't nothing, y'all. It's just more stories. That's all it is. Let me go back up. That's all it is. Just more stories. That's all we got, y'all. So on all this, they're asking for a dismissal. That's what they're asking for. Anti-SLAPP. They want to be able to sue Bishop Jakes and Jermaine Jakes for the assumed or perceived threat. That I read the affidavits. I read them. There's a few of them. You have to go back. He said, this is not going well. Listen, this is what we were waiting for last time. You want your money back? That's like Larry. See, the cover up is always music in church and getting married. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is enough for the judge to offer a dismissal in this case in favor of Dwayne Youngblood? What happened when people become affiliated with the podcast Chaos and Mayhem? My God, today. Oh God. And you said everybody should be embarrassed. Just because he may have done this to others doesn't mean he did it to Youngblood. However, if he did happen, he should have taken the law and not right. Now he's asking the judge to leave it open so he can sue Jermaine Jakes and T.D. Jakes now he's gone to the therapist. Now he's gone to the therapist after the fact. And he's gotten a therapist to say, all this has affected him. lawsuits and everything. It's all affected him. I must say, Jermaine sending that text was foolish, which it was. Hopefully, Bishop would distance himself from the text. Yeah, because he can't put that to Bishop Jake just because it was his son. He's a grown-ass man. He didn't file a police report or anything on Jermaine Jakes. But now you want to go and do a lawsuit? Okay. Oh, wow. They have some nerve throwing that child Manasseh picture up there. Wonder if they got consent. Well, probably not. Probably not. They're just saying, this is it's wild, Courtney. I wish I could stay on longer, you guys, but I have to get ready. I have to go take care of some stuff and get out of this hotel room and get ready for Anita Wilson tonight, that concert. Yeah, therapy was on 1/20/2025. I don't know if that's when she just wrote the letter up. It could be when she just wrote the letter up. But I'm sure this therapy was recent, very recent. Trying and doing is two different things. Yes, that's right. Yep. So listen to me. From St. James' opinion, I don't think the response is worthy of a dismissal. I still think keeping the main thing, the $6 million grab, we still have to figure out, is their complaint warranted to include other co-conspirators? That's yet to be seen. Do they have the Jakes team have any additional information that would lead us to believe that there are definitely co-conspirators that should be included in this complaint? Will they go ahead and amend the complaint now, or will they wait for discovery to amend the complaint? That is the question of the hour. Does this case allow for, is this an anti-SLAPP type of case? In my opinion, I don't think so, but I'm no judge. I'm no attorney, but from what I'm reading and what I'm analyzing, I don't think it warrants them recovering any anti-SLAPP type of judgment. Okay. Oh, the spin it's gonna spin so many ways. Y'all just conscience is going to tell me that St. James, are you ready to concede? Oh, you gotta concede now, St. James. Oh, I can hear conscience now. He's going to flip that hair. He's going to say, St. James, I know it's time for you to concede. I'm time for you to just give it over to Youngblood and tell us that you know that he has a case and they ought to dismiss it. This is another win. It's a win across the board. 10s across the board for Youngblood. I don't see it. You said, notice how not one of those affidavits were from someone who said Jakes paid them off. Those were the affidavits that they said we were going to see. We know he can get people to say he's been telling this story for 40 years. We know that. Where's the affidavits that the people said they were going to subpoena and they were going to get affidavits that people were going to say that, yes, they have been paid off after accusing Jakes of inappropriate activity? Not in one affidavit we read has that information in it. Not one. Another nothing burger, another pie in the sky, another, oh, just wait. It's going to be explosive. Oh, it's getting spun up. Oh, conscience going to spin this bad boy. Once again, everybody, as Bless says, the lawsuit is about $6 million not being touched or miskissed. And if they got NDAs, they're not giving you no affidavits. That's what I was trying to explain to these folks. You're not going to make these folks be on your side and sign no affidavits against Jakes. If any of that happened, NDAs has shut them up. And if you want to say money, possibly had shut them up. And yes, he could have been, he sat there and experienced his own daughter, own sister being essayed by his own father for years. That's trauma. That Jermaine text was not trauma, in my opinion. The fact that Jake decided to sue Youngblood and no one else says Jake's believe he can prove Youngblood is lying. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. So we didn't get any affidavits of people accusing Jakes. All we got was Richard Youngblood's, his brothers said he hopped into bed with him and said, "You feel that?" Has Richard filed a lawsuit? Youngblood has a major character that can be questioned. That's why he went after him. I think this happened. Okay. You know what? I never said this never happened to him. I think the Lady Wisdom said, he was lying. I'm not saying he didn't hug him and didn't try to kiss him. What I'm saying is, I don't know how that particular incident, out of all the other incidents that you described, someone getting in bed, because even, the massage from Watkins, that Wilson getting in bed with you and then praying and speaking in tongues after you woke up. I mean, those incidents were actually some, acts, if they were true, those are acts that you could say, oh, that's SA. And again, I don't need the text message and the comments are talking and trying to explain to me what SA is. I know it's different from other. It's a different thought pattern for everybody, what's considered SA, okay? But what I'm saying is, me outside looking in, I can see those other instances as being a little bit more, along that line than now, someone in the affidavit put the bear hug and then added bear hug on it and missed kiss. Yeah. He was lying. Pedals have been, yeah. Right. So you're telling me Youngblood in prison for years and never needed therapy until the Jermaine text. Right. And I think he said he was in therapy prior, but this is a new thing now. The Jermaine text, I guess, has heightened his deal some kind of way. Wild. We got raisins. We got a lot of raisins in the potato salad today that have nothing to do with the picnic. Yeah. You said you think Jake's ultimately will come. Do you think Jake's ultimately will come? Okay. After you think he would? Yeah. That could be. Okay. I think I said that. Yeah, we need phone records. Did anybody go over there to that jail and listen? I don't think Jakes and them has revealed everything that they have yet. They needed a response. They got the response today. Game on. Game on now. We don't know what we're gonna see now. We may see a amended complaint. Youngblood said Jakes was talking dirty to him in the bedroom and Sarita in the same room sleeping. I think Larry boosted him up to come against Jakes. I think it's true, but I think Larry wants a cut. Oh, God. Well, that's what Jakes thinks, too. That's Jakes' point about it. Like, how do you compartmentalize. That's one of the big words, JP, and reassign your trauma. Yeah. He's reassigned his trauma now to Jermaine Jakes and this lawsuit. He's reassigned the trauma. You understand, saints? Blackburn. That's all I'm saying. Blackburn. I gotta go, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I can't even do I ain't gonna do a long closing. I appreciate you guys coming through. Would you do me a great big favor? Let us support the platform, all the documents and things we have to pay for. Yes, we do. We have to pay for that kind of stuff. So bringing you all this stuff, it's at a cost. So I appreciate those who did some super chats today. If you would like to support the platform, $ the St. James Show, or just $ St. James Show. And also there is our handle for Zelle and PayPal and Venmo. All right. Zelle and PayPal, the St. James Show at att.net. Venmo is that as well. The St. James Show. Okay. So I appreciate you guys coming through. The spin doctors are at it, I'm sure. So I'm sure you have some more entertainment that y'all can look at and see these people spin this thing. And Dwayne done one. And yeah. Thank you, Nia 8. The early morning. I'm going to enjoy Nita tonight. See, we verified therapists in the chat today. So we had so many verified therapists in the chat today. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I have no idea. We have some people with their opinions. You know, we do our opinions over here, Southern Phoenix. These are opinions. That's what they are. I appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all have a wonderful Friday. And try your best to stay out of people's business. Y'all so nosy. Oh.